Hello, YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
We're back. We're talking college football. We're talking midseason reports, and we're liking and subscribing, yes?
Yes, and Jack and Brandon have an all-time man moment together.
Do we? Do we
It
have a
was
man
cute.
moment?
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't the pissing
Stat
contest.
moment. A stat man
Oh,
moment.
that was fun.
Like, subscribe, comment. Thanks.
What happened to Katie's dog?
No, she just knew. She's her claws.
Oh, she clawed your shirt?
Yeah, but my nice new Roback has a long.
So we'll get you Roback. We
stitch
got
on it.
Robacks for days.
We do. We got that whole, the wardrobe,
Got
like,
a whole ass rack of
Kareem
Roback.
takes them.
rack.
all, so.
The rack. That's what I
Also,
was looking for.
what happened to your dog?
No, my dog just has a tail that has to be taken off or reduced. I don't know.
That's not great.
She has to have surgery, yeah.
She's old.
She's old. She's
Like you.
lived a great life. It's tough, but I think...
My tail's not falling off.
That's not what you said,
No,
like,
her
15
tail
minutes
is
ago.
not falling off. It has something wrong at the end of it.
You also
You're the
do
one
have
that's-
a tail problem.
You're the one that's pregnant. You're going to lose your tail soon.
I think my tail's getting bigger.
That's true. All right. Y'all want to talk podcast?
My tail feather.
Talk foot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was in Bad Boys 2 soundtrack.
Oh, Bad Boys 2 is such a good movie.
Shake your tail feathers.
That
I
movie.
interviewed a fighter today named Bubba Bad Boy Jenkins.
What? Okay.
But you said Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Also,
fair enough.
Bad Boys 2 is one of the movies where, like, the sequel was absolutely better than the first.
Speaking of Bad Boys,
But my fault. His name's Bubba Bad Man Jenkins now.
my dad was on Cops.
Well, he was the cop, right?
No. All right.
Sorry. I didn't mean...
Damn, kick him while he's down, Jack.
All right. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hello. My name is Brandon Walker, and I am one of the hosts of the Unnecessary Roughness podcast, Barstool's college football extravaganza on a weekly basis. I am flanked by Casey Smith. To my right, Jack something or other. To my left, Catherine Statistics. But in the middle is a beautiful tailgate pack of High Noon hard seltzer.
What's flanked mean?
Joined at the sides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like your
It's
own,
a good thing.
Yeah.
So, war
can be.
term
It can be a war term. It can be any term.
used in
A
football.
horse has
sometimes.
flanks.
Triple option, I think.
Receivers are called flankers, or can often be called flankers. And,
Okay.
and
Flank steak.
I was about
Flank
to say, I
steak
feel like
is
there's
a-
a steak that's a flank.
Well, there
Because
is.
it's a side.
Yeah, it's a
Comes
right.
from the side of the cow.
Yeah, it's leaner. It doesn't have as much fat on it.
So like a sirloin.
A lot of your jerky is going to be made out of flank steak.
Speaking of jerky,
Yeah.
did you have some of the jerky that Uncle Chaps was walking around
Oh,
with
it's
today?
really
I
good.
did not know
God,
that he.
it was so good.
I didn't know.
And it was like the really long thing, and he just came over with a pocket knife and would just slice you off
It
some.
was really good.
I kind of
Ooh,
wish
it
I
was
had
good.
some.
Yeah. What kind of?
I have a
jerky was it? Was it
dehydrator that
I think it was deer or elk.
I thought last Christmas I was going to become a jerky guy, and I did make some, but I didn't keep up with it.
I have an ex-boyfriend who got a dehydrator, and the amount of delicious jerky that came out of that thing. I
It's
miss
so
that.
easy
I
to make
miss you
jerky.
for
All
that.
you do is put the meat in and let it go for 10 hours.
So good. Anyways, that high noon though.
Boy, that High Noon. You won't get thirsty when you've got High Noon. And you got the pear, the cranberry. That's 2 new flavors there in the tailgate pack. The grapefruit and black cherry are some old standbys, yes?
You know what one of my girlfriends was telling me? She threw a tailgate for the first time ever for the A&M Arkansas game, so it's been a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But she is also like every other basic bitch, including me, that's really wanting the fall weather to truly hit. Obviously, up
Right.
here it is. Down there it's not. She told me that she took the High Noon cranberry
Yeah.
and she put it in like a big punch bowl, added vodka to it, and then added real cranberries.
Oh, my goodness.
And used it as like the punch, and
Yeah.
she said it was a hit.
I heard that High Noon took your suggestion and they're working on a pumpkin flavor.
You didn't actually hear that, did you?
Nah, I made that up just to see how you'd react. But
Well,
they could be.
Honestly, right now I'm craving pickles more.
Oh, I forgot. You
Now-
also wanted a pickle flavored
Well,
High Noon.
Content Kim made pumpkin spice cookies today. Did you try one?
I thought
No.
you were about to say she made
Why's everybody-
pickle cookies.
Why is everybody walking around with food today? I
Because
didn't-
the weather.
Kim,
the weather
Content
is.
Kim does often bakes for the office.
she's
She
she's
also
a
made
good
an
baker.
apple pie.
She's a good
No,
baker.
that was
that was
Alex.
Alex. Her apple pie was really good.
Well, the family, Alex and Content Kim. There was apple pie in
Alex's
the kitchen.
pie was good.
Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Pumpkin spice cookies. I cannot have High Noon right now, but if they were making a pumpkin spice High Noon, I would drink the shit out of it
When you can.
when I can.
Mm-hmm.
But I pickle is my number one.
I'm gonna drink the pumpkin High Noon right in front of you. Just
That's so
slowly,
mean.
slowly, just drink it. And I don't even like pumpkin
I'm about
spice.
to say you don't even like it. Oh, here's a question for you,
Oh
and then
my
we'll move
God.
on. We'll move on because I know you were gone last week.
Sure. Yeah.
At games, at like high school games in Mississippi, do they sell pickles at the concession stands?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. They'll all be in and they'll put
Yes.
it in a little napkin for you, and yeah. Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, we spent about 3 to 4 minutes talking about pickles last week, and Katie and I were shocked.
Did they do
by-
that?
Oh, you can buy a pickle. Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
You can buy. I'm almost certain you can buy Mississippi State games.
That's
you a pickle,
But the
yeah.
best thing was I had people sending me photos like on Twitter, like tweeting at me like that they were at like games.
Oh,
with
yeah.
pickles,
Good for them.
You'll see somebody walking around with usually just a napkin with a pickle sticking out. and-
Yeah,
A little-
that.
we have sleeves in Texas.
Oh, you have sleeves? No, we just have a white paper towel and just stick it down in there and.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
When you catch
I
me
didn't need
dead.
it. It's so good,
Huh?
Jack.
I don't like pickles, but I love the way they
I'm
taste.
kidding. What?
What?
I've told you guys
Yeah,
this
no, I know.
many times.
He
You
likes
don't
the
like
he likes
You
the
like
flavors.
vinegar.
I hate pickles. I love the way they taste.
He likes the flavor. He doesn't like the consistency
Oh,
and
the-
the crunch
right.
and the
The
skin.
look of
and-
it looking.
Here's
like
what I do. I take a bag of regular potato chips. I put in 3 chips, get the crunch going, chase it with the pickle. Pickle
all right.
chips. They're delicious.
They are. I had to bring that up again.
That's so fun.
Anyways,
All right.
go ahead.
Here's what I'm going to bring up for this show. College football.
That's a good thing.
You ever think about it?
I think about it a lot.
College football is
I'm
going
still
on.
thinking about Saturday.
We're in the midway point right now.
Is it really?
That's horrifying.
We're 6 games in.
That's not mid, is it?
How's it not?
I mean, most teams haven't had a
Basically-
bye week.
Yeah, but basically,
Yes.
most teams are at the midpoint of their year.
100%.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
It does go quickly, doesn't it?
Well, there's 14 weeks.
Think
Yeah,
about it.
but how many teams your game? How many games your
I
team play?
know,
12.
I
How many they play
know.
right now? 6.
I'm thinking about the bigger
Y'all playing
picture.
13 this year, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're actually
No,
playing
14.
14 or 15.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys
15,
are playing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're playing the SEC title game, then we're
Yes.
playing the playoff, and
Yes.
and most likely, I don't want to predict anything bold, but most likely the championship game too.
My- Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. You're right because it's like halfway through October. Obviously, a month and a half. Then we have bowl season. I can't believe it's going so fast.
It's going. It always goes fast.
And we actually have a Barstool Bowl this year, I think.
Yep.
We do. They
Yeah.
sent my kid clothes.
Really, hadn't sent me shit.
Well, be nicer to people.
Have a kid.
I have 4.
I know, that was the joke.
I have many kids of all varieties.
Oh, I saw a rumor about you on the internet
Really? What was it?
No.
that you're having a 5th kid.
Maybe.
Jack started it, so
Don't tell my wife.
I started it? Oh, yeah. You know what? I was playing dumb there. I did hear about this 5th kid.
Right. Yes.
Outside the marriage kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a, what did Jada Pinkett Smith call her cheating on Will Smith?
Entanglements?
Entanglement.
Oh, it's an entanglement.
Yes.
It's an entanglement
that
child.
it resulted in a child.
Yeah. Jack started the rumor.
They
I
used
saw
to
it.
call
Entanglement, by the way, sounds way worse than just an affair.
Well, yeah. No, it sounds
Entanglement just sounds nasty.
No, entanglement is
It sounds
like
like
an
a
emotional connection.
I don't
Entanglement
think so.
sounds like a fight.
You
Yeah.
think they call kids that
Entanglement sounds like when dogs have sex.
That is true.
What? No, it doesn't.
Yes,
What kind
it
of
does.
sex are you having?
Huh?
What kind of sex are you having?
Well, I didn't say sex. I was talking about entanglement.
An entanglement sounds like things got really messy.
Okay. Well, point
I
stands.
think they call kids on the playground now like, oh no, you're not a bastard. You're an entanglement. You're the result of an entanglement.
Yeah. If not, we should start it.
Well, no, I don't want to.
I
No,
don't
my
call,
my
bully
kid.
kids.
I don't call
me and
kids on
Bra-
the playground anything because I'm not allowed within 500 yards of the school.
Yeah, me too.
Oh boy, that's not a funny joke.
Why? I just,
College football.
college football.
Noah just gave you the most disapproving
I
look.
don't.
and
I don't
that
care.
is-
I don't look at Noah.
Well, that's because you don't want him to disapprove of what you're saying.
I don't look at Noah. Noah doesn't have his eyes can't make a judgment on this show. He can't like look at me and make a face and then I react to him.
Is that an Asian eye squinty joke?
Oh,
Damn.
damn.
I hadn't even noticed you were Asian. I just thought you were just a
human.
just a regular old white dude from Pennsylvania.
From
Didn't even
Connecticut.
notice. But now that you say it, I see it.
What his last name's giveaway?
What is it?
Ah,
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh. I just thought that meant. Okay.
He tried to get me there.
I thought
like
that
I
just
said something
meant
wrong.
he was an asshole. Okay. Anyway, we have fun. College football is happening right now, and we're at the midway point. So I said to my people, this being my people, and I said, bring your midseason top 5 list for top 5 quarterbacks of the season so far, your top 5 running backs, your top 5 receivers, your top 5 coaches. That's the list we'll do today as
Yes.
we get through the midway point of the season.
So we are doing wide receivers.
Yeah, I went ahead and made a list. And I will unveil my first because list for the season. I have 7. 7 because list players who are good enough to win the Heisman, but because of where they play, because they don't play at Ohio State or Alabama or Clemson, they'll never get anywhere close.
How do we properly spell because?
That like that, B-E-C-A-U-S-E.
You spell it like because.
Because.
I
Because
did
you say it
B-E-C-A-W-S.
Because.
Because that's the way you spelled it is the way he says it.
Because.
But
It's the word
you-
because. The word's
you-
because.
You spell it like because.
You're saying because like it's a cousin.
You know what
it's not
we
a cousin.
should do?
We've been doing this 3 years now. You're
We
going to
should
fix
do
the because?
because and then exclamation point or capitalization of the B and the W list. Brandon Walker
Wow.
list. Because list. You see?
I do. I don't. Yeah. Let's see what it looks like. It doesn't look great. Oh, and see, it corrected it because.
but it says because that's the way you say it because.
That's not the worst. It looks like the Becca was list.
Yeah.
Becca Wise.
Becca Wise list. All right. We'll get to that in a minute. We have college football comings and goings. First of all, I guess Katie wants me to announce this or say this or just
Remind
allude to
people.
it. October 22nd, next week, not this Saturday, which is a loaded slate Saturday that we're going to get into. We got USC Utah this Saturday. We have Mississippi State,
6
Kentucky.
ranked matchups.
We have 6 ranked matchups.
I
We
thought
have
we
Penn
had
State,
7.
Michigan. We
only
have
6.
You may have 7.
Alabama, Tennessee. Oh yeah, we got. Is that 2 top 10 matchups? 2
Yes.
top 10 matchups.
Tennessee, Alabama, and Michigan, Penn State.
And then three top 15 matchups.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, TCU,
Yeah.
NC State.
Oklahoma
Qs.
State, TCU should be a top 10 matchup.
We'll see about that. That line is very interesting. The fact that it opened at a pick'em and it is raced towards TCU.
I'm just going to
Can I
say
be
it.
so good on the road?
I think TCU may be able to put up 700 yards on Oklahoma State's defense.
Oh,
Okay.
Jack,
Oklahoma
you're
State
right,
does
6.
not. I looked up the stats for it. It's kind of insane.
They let
Well, we'll have-
a third-string freshman on Saturday with one leg throw for like
Well,
800 yards.
we'll have plenty of time to be able to talk about the slate on Thursday, Jack.
No.
I know, it just looks outstanding. I was surprised. 126 in pass defense.
That list
Tennessee's
right there is pretty
128.
good.
Alabama, Tennessee, Penn State, Michigan. Penn State, Michigan, by the way, top 10 matchup, kind of flying under the radar.
Also,
Very much so.
Well, it's
Yeah.
because everyone's talking about Alabama,
Alabama,
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Also a Barstool matchup.
It's
Right.
a Barstool matchup, and it's every bit as big. Like, this is a division matchup. It's just as
That's a
big, if
not-
not bigger, than the.
So I was thinking, and this is
Alabama,
one of those
Tennessee.
chaos things, but like we could see a Michigan wins here, Penn State beats Ohio State beats
Yes.
Michigan, and then chaos. But usually those things don't happen.
But to tell you how far it's flying under the radar, even at Barstool, when, not to throw Jack McCarthy under the bus, but I'm going to throw Jack McCarthy under the bus, we were talking about what time the college football stream will be on Saturday. And he was like, are you going to be streaming for Alabama, Tennessee? And I said, well, yeah, but we also should probably stream for Penn State, Michigan. He said, who cares about that? And I was like, well, I think a lot of
he
people.
doesn't watch sports.
He's also a Wisconsin fan, so they're down bad.
He doesn't watch.
We'll get to that slate.
kidding. He
We'll
does.
get to that slate soon, but I got to tell you that next Saturday, October 22nd, we will be at Fred's Bar and Grill in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for LSU's home football game.
Against Ole Miss.
Huh?
Brandon,
We will be there for LSU and LSU alone. We don't give a shit about
Ole
anybody else
Miss
that'll be there.
versus LSU. Katie, the showtime, do we know it? We're not
This will
announcing
mark
it yet.
our second time to go to an Ole Miss game since I've been here, and we've still not gone to a Mississippi State game.
it looks like it's going to be at 12:30 Central local time.
12:30 Central.
All right, so there you go. Next Saturday,
I'm sad that
12:30.
game's on at night.
Yeah,
I
but
know.
it has
I
to be the
understand
it has
it's
to
a
be the
CBS
2:30
game,
CBS game.
But I really, because I wanted to be there all day, even though I cannot partake in the drinking tailgate scene.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the all day tailgate
You
scene.
want to experience it. You want
Well,
to feel
LSU
Yeah.
it.
fans don't tailgate unless the game's out at 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
As we
apparently
learned
they
this
only do
weekend.
night games.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
The AP poll came out, of course. Georgia moved back to number 1 as the dance continues. But Ohio State moved to 2, and Alabama fell all the way to 3 with 11 first-place votes. Really, I don't know that I can remember
This is the most changes.
Yeah, without
at
a
the
loss.
Top, without a loss since I think Matt Brown wrote it for the Athletic.
So we've gone
since
from
like
Alabama
1976.
to Georgia now. Ohio State has not been number 1 yet, even though I think they're probably
They should be.
the best team. So they're your top 3, and then you got Clemson, Michigan, Tennessee, USC, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, and Penn State. Your top 10. UCLA, and then we know all the rest. I'm sure by now you know what the AP top 25
The
is.
number 25 one was
James Madison University.
Yeah, that
Can't go to a
was
bowl
shocking.
game, but they can be number 25 in the country.
Illinois is in. Shout out to Chase Brown
Yeah.
First
and
time
the
since
program.
2012, I think.
Yep.
Yes, and now the only teams that have the longest streak. I will have to say it. Rutgers.
Vanderbilt,
Rutgers.
Oregon State.
Oregon State hasn't been in. They've been not terrible.
Rutgers
They're number 3
gets
on
a
the
pass
streak.
here for being a complete shit football program. I'm going to say it.
Well, that's fine. Why are you mad
he
at Rutgers?
hates Rutgers.
I'm just letting you know that
Why-
they get a pass here. It's like, oh,
I don't think they get a
Rutgers
pass.
is so great.
I think everybody knows that Rutgers isn't great.
so great.
He hates
Oh, it's
Rutgers.
the streaks. Rutgers since 2012, Oregon State 2013, Vanderbilt 2014.
Wow.
Illinois broke
Not
their
great.
streak.
Texas A&M hasn't been in the AP top 25 in a
They
week.
got no votes this week. I was surprised they got no votes.
That was just a low blow. I shouldn't have done that.
That was mean. That was uncalled for.
Yeah, well, it's
I didn't bring it up. I'd like it on the record, please. Everyone mark down on the record. I did not bring up A&M.
Matt Rhule is back in the college football pond. He is a fish swimming around waiting to get caught by a program. He got fired by the Carolina Panthers. Your open jobs right now are Arizona State, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Colorado, Georgia Tech. I feel like there's a couple more that I'm not that aren't there, but maybe not. And then ... Auburn, which is available but not available. But we all know it's available.
That's all those that are open.
That's every bit of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Sorry, Katie. I apologize. Your graphic is correct.
We all knew it was correct. We did.
The Auburn was there because that's
No, you're right.
the next
It's
name.
Yes.
Arizona State, Nebraska,
You're right,
Wisconsin,
Katie.
Colorado,
He's
Georgia
wrong.
Tech, ... Auburn.
Yeah.
Yes. First of all, I know that it didn't work out in Carolina. Just bad situation for him. They just fighting an uphill battle. Every single one of those schools should be calling him immediately.
Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Let's say you're Nebraska.
Yes.
Matt Campbell, Lance Leipold, Matt Rhule. Outside hire. Outside of that group. What do you do?
I have 4 options.
Yeah, those are your 4 options.
See, here's the problem that I feel like a lot of people are falling into this trap is that everyone's saying Matt Rhule, the Carolina Panthers head coach, where if 2 or 3 seasons ago, Matt Rhule, the college football coach, he would be at the head of that list to me.
Okay, so I wouldn't mind looking, and I don't have time to do it right now, but was Matt Rhule's time at Baylor as successful as we make it out to be? It was really one great year, wasn't it? He turned one great year into...
But he turned a Baylor into one great year.
Well, I mean, let's not act like Art Briles, you may think is a huge piece of
is.
shit, but he did have a pretty good football program there.
Yeah, but I do feel like
And Dave Aranda has immediately turned them. Although, let me be fair to Matt Rhule. He had 2 back-to-back 10-win seasons at Temple as well.
he also is one of those guys, and we could see. I mean, he's not that old. Obviously, he has time, but he seems to be one of those guys that just can be successful at the college level. Goes to the NFL, it doesn't work out, and then comes back and can be successful wherever he wants. That's the air that it feels like to me. Now, I don't know that for sure, but to have 10-win seasons at Temple, 2 back-to-back, and then to have the success at Baylor, I mean,
I love his bowl history right there. He went to 4 bowls as a coach: the Boca Raton, the Military, the Texas Bowl, and then the Sugar. That's a huge step up in his last year.
I will say it is hard to win at Temple. It's a tough.
It's almost
program.
impossible. Yeah,
It's a tough program to sell, and he did, and he almost, due to the success he had, he got Jeff Collins hired as well.
and he got to Baylor when they were rock bottom, dirt, at the
If we give
basement.
Dave Aranda a lot of credit. We should also give
Matt Rhule.
I know
That's-
Matt Rhule wasn't defensive coordinator on a national championship winning team, but I do think Rhule would be a really good option for Nebraska if, say, Lance Leipold says no. Who do you think's that? Let's rank available coaches in your mind for Nebraska.
Well, it depends on who's available. I think Lance Leipold's the top. He would be the top of my list. But I feel like the dirty player, not the dirty player, but I think the key player in this coaching search are the Wisconsin Badgers. They fired their coach to give Jim Leonard a long enough look to know. And if they get through, if they win 2 more games, they win 3 more games, and they get to the end and say, Jim Leonard, he's one of ours, but let's go get Lance Leipold.
We talked about
I think
this
they could jump Nebraska for Leipold.
when you were gone. We asked, what's the better job? And we kind of came to the conclusion
Wisconsin's a better job.
that it was just one and the same.
No, Wisconsin's a better job. In my opinion, Wisconsin's
I think
a better
Significantly, you think?
I think it's easier to do better at Wisconsin, but Nebraska has a higher ceiling with the right person.
I think that ceiling is old. I think that it's like if I bought a house with very tall ceilings, but the house was 100 years old, I'd be better off just tearing down and rebuilding. Like it's to me, Wisconsin has succeeded at a very high level in modern football, and Nebraska has not. Yes, Wisconsin's a better program than Nebraska. I have no doubt about that right now.
We said, what it came down to is like what you take into consideration more. I think that, Wisconsin, I know Wisconsin has had, like you said, success over the last 3 decades. They've been that sitting duck kind of in their division. But Nebraska fans and what Nebraska can offer, I think as a brand of football, even though it's been a long time, like Nebraska fans haven't been truly relevant since the 90s, and they're still fucking crazy.
If I showed you 2 pictures right now of the same image, and one was in crystal clear HD and one was in black and white, one's far superior. Nebraska's black and white football.
Let's not act like Nebraska didn't have Wisconsin success under Bo Pelini. They what's the?
I don't think they had Wisconsin like success. They had success. They would go 9 wins, 10 wins. Wisconsin will fuck around every now and then and get that 11 win. They'll fucking they'll win the West more often than they don't win the West. I just think Wisconsin's a tick ahead of Nebraska.
I said Wisconsin was what I would put them at 1, but I don't think that it's like leaps and bounds ahead, because if you look at like even what you just said with Bo Pelini, 9 and 10 versus 11 wins. Like yes, 11 wins is great, but 9-10 wins is not.
All right, here's your rankings of the available jobs, and I'm including Auburn because we know it's available even though it isn't. Number 1, Auburn.
Yes, easy.
Number 2, Wisconsin. Number 3, Nebraska. Number 4,
it's Arizona State.
Arizona State.
I think it's Georgia Tech.
Okay, that's fair.
The last 3 can be anything, although Colorado's last in my opinion.
Yes.
You could switch back and forth between Arizona State and Georgia Tech. Arizona State, just from like where it is.
To me, it's about Georgia Tech where it is.
Well, Atlanta, but
the Southeast. There's so much talent in the Southeast. You got to go and you got to import talent at Arizona State.
But Georgia Tech, you have the grades that are
it's so hard to get
the
those
academic
kids in.
standards, and you're also recruiting directly against.
If
Georgia.
you're Deion, would you rather go to Georgia Tech or Arizona State? I say Arizona State.
It's easily Georgia Tech.
I think Georgia Tech.
I think Arizona State.
But the
if I'm
academic
Deion.
standards do play a huge role into that. They'll let anybody in Arizona State.
There's guys that get pretty good SAT scores, at top tier SEC SAT scores, and Georgia Tech has issues getting them in.
Well, the next coach is going to have to figure out a way around that. There's other places with high entrance standards that succeed at a high level in college football.
Like Notre Dame.
Doesn't Michigan have pretty high standards?
Yep.
Also, I don't know if they let anybody.
Stanford
in
had a minute
Arizona
where they
State.
were
I
really
just said
good.
that.
They have high standards. So if you look at the crop of really smart football players that have great SAT scores, Georgia Tech's probably the last one on the list or where you would want to go. Michigan, if Michigan's calling, you got to go there. Stanford probably.
Yeah.
So, and it's tough. And Deion.
If that kid grew up in Conyers, Georgia, or Norcross, Georgia, I think you've got a chance. And there's a lot. It's just a talent-rich area of
But
the
wouldn't
country.
they, at that point, if they're that good, wouldn't they rather go to Georgia?
Not necessarily, because Georgia's going to take the top 25 players or they're going to be among the top 100 players every year. You could live between 150 and 400 if you're Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
This would be something that's more a recruiting answer and whatnot, but I think the admissions headache is something coaches consider a lot more than we give credit to.
Fair enough.
Also, I know.
Fair fucking enough.
I also said this under my breath to Katie whenever you guys were talking. I unnecessarily took a shot. I don't know if you can just let anybody in Arizona State or not. I just assumed.
I think
No,
you
you
can.
could. If you're football, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What
Deion could get anybody in.
an official prediction right now? Who would you guess? Where would you guess he goes?
Talking about who?
Matt Rhule.
I say he doesn't coach.
Next year, this time.
$40 million to not coach for a year sounds pretty nice. Because there is.
If he doesn't get Auburn or Nebraska, he won't coach. I think he'll wait. He can afford to wait on a job. If he can get one of the – and I don't think Wisconsin and Matt Rhule will really fit. So if he doesn't get Auburn and Nebraska, I think he waits.
Here's the question, and I know we talked about it before we started recording, and none of us had the answer, but do NFL buyouts cross over? So, like, if he gets a job at Auburn, do the Panthers still owe him $40 million?
I'm sure the Panthers, knowing they hired a college coach when they hired him, probably wrote into the contract something about if you take a college job, if we fire you, take a college job, you're not getting the full buyout.
So here's what I would do.
I don't know the language of the contract.
I would say, you know what? I'm going to take a year, figure out what I want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe flirt with some TV network
He's
job.
making $834,000 a month.
Yeah, I think that I would probably just like chill.
That's Casey Smith money.
No.
Yes.
That is Casey Smith money.
It's not. I wish it was. But you know what? I'll tell you what. If that was money for me not to work, again, maybe that's just the difference between me and having the coaching competitive drive. I'd be sitting at home for a year.
This is going to be a hot take, but I think money not to work is probably better than money to work.
I would have to agree with that. That if you said, hey, you have to go to work every single
Right.
day and get paid, or you can do whatever the fuck you want and get paid every single day, I would probably take the latter.
Yeah, I would too.
I think that I would.
Casey, you know what's very important?
Your ego.
Very, very true. You know what is almost as important as my ego? And making
Hydration.
sure I feel like the most important person in the room at all times?
Hydration.
Hydration. Live Pure. It's in my hand. It was just dropped here by Jack. I've got the recovery supplements. You have the energy dietary supplements. They are additions to your drink, right? They're servings that you can put in your drink. They are delicious. You can have hydration, energy, recovery. They got protein. Live Pure.
And the protein, Brandon. Oh, look, Jack's
yes,
bringing out the
yes.
little.
This is
so
the,
if you're watching on YouTube, you
blue
can
raspberry
see the
flavor.
little packets. These are very important. The packets of Live Pure, because you can just take them on the go. You
Yeah.
don't have like the huge tub, the huge bucket, whatever
Right.
you want to call. These are great, but you mentioned the whey protein. Mm-hmm. It's cookies and cream, Brandon.
It is cookies
It's
and cream.
cookies and cream,
I don't-
and it doesn't make you feel bloated.
I don't want to get into the semantics of their flavors or anything, because I don't think ultimately you can have whatever flavor you want. You can enjoy whatever you want in this life. You can have their blue raspberry, you can have their lemonade, their orange, but my God, their orange is dreamsicle, and it is the best thing that's ever been invented in life. I love dreamsicle.
And you know what's cool about this specific dreamsicle?
Yes?
And you know, there's a lot of great dreamsicles out there,
Sure.
but this specific one has amino acids, less sugar, less sodium. It's vegan, it's gluten-free, and it actually tastes good, unlike most nutrition
Oh, it
products
tastes
on
good.
the market.
Yep, it tastes good. Go to livepure.com. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the name. It's LIVPUR.
No ease.
livepure.com and use code ROUGH25 for 25% off your entire order. Again, livepure.com, ROUGH25 for 25% off your entire order. All right, we've had a season of college football, half a season of college football. We had some big games the other day. We've had a lot of moments and activities and everything. And we've got a huge Saturday coming up that we will get into on our third show of the week on Thursday. But right now, let's look back at what we've had through 6 weeks. We've had several teams have surprising years. You talk teams like Syracuse, who's undefeated, TCU, who's undefeated, Kansas, who's got one loss. We got several teams that have shown flashes of brilliance, like your Texas Longhorns, your USC Trojans. But let's focus on the players. So here are your list. We're going to all bring our top 5 quarterbacks of the season so far. What are you looking at?
I just got kicked. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Kick him back.
No.
Okay.
How would she?
I forgot. We said it was him. Okay, good.
Yeah.
You've been gone a while.
Okay, so top 5 quarterbacks of the season so far, top 5 running backs of the season, receivers, and coaches. And I think the most interesting list are the quarterbacks, and I think the most interesting list is the coach.
The coaches.
The coaches
Now, I will say, and I know you agree with this, the hardest was the wide receivers for me.
Yeah.
And then
There really isn't a wide receiver who separated himself as a great receiver this year.
There's
Marvin Harrison Jr. But
There's
we'll
been
get to that.
individual games, I
I
think.
don't know.
but
I
there's
think
no
you
week
could
in, week
make
out.
a argument that Marvin Harrison isn't even the best on his team.
But I also have the other. We'll get to that.
But I mean, like a couple years ago when Devontae Smith just
Yeah.
cemented himself, when the LSU guys cemented themselves as a class
Jamar,
above
yeah.
everybody else, we haven't had that yet.
The wide receiver was the hardest list to make, but the running backs list was probably the most fun because there's so many options.
Yeah, there really are a lot.
Tons of options.
You want to do coaches or quarterbacks first?
Let's go quarterbacks.
Let's do quarterbacks because that's where
I feel like that one's going to be the most
that's where the game
alike.
That's where the game begins, right? Quarterback, where the ball
Well,
is snapped.
I think the coaches probably are where it begins.
Well, they don't take a snap.
But they decide who's going to
Okay,
take the
well
snap.
maybe the guy
They-
maybe the guy who paints the sidelines in the field. Maybe that's where the game.
Oh, they
begins.
got did you see the video of the Alabama? What Alabama has?
The
There's not even a
robots.
guy. The robots. They do it now.
They have robots.
Oh,
that
are you
paint the
serious?
line.
Like, have you seen those
Like from
videos
MIT?
I was-
on college campuses? The little white robots that deliver
Yeah.
the food.
Yeah.
It looks like that.
The MIT.
Well, they got to be little white robots.
You're right. I think Alabama's is black. For recruiting purposes.
Technically, it's.
I'm kidding.
Your coaches are the ones who decide who is going to play a quarterback. So I would say that it starts with the coach.
Let's just do quarterbacks.
I do.
Some
I
would
agree.
say Texas fans earlier this year would say the boosters decide who plays quarterback. Boy, did those people look silly in retrospect? Remember the
Yes, I know.
rumor before the season that Quinn Ewers only won the job because boosters told the coach to let him win the job?
Well, I never understood why people were upset about that in the first place. Quinn Ewers was the #1 recruit.
But you remember that rumor?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But like, no offense to Hudson Card or anybody else that was being talked
Hudson's
about,
not
but
bad,
like,
though.
no, definitely not. But like, what? Yeah, the boosters decided the #1 overall recruit.
I think Sark has this weird love affair with Hudson Card, not actually, but kinda, that he just thinks he's the greatest quarterback ever, but he actually isn't.
Let's try to do it this way. Let's do quarterbacks this way, and then we'll adjust if we go forward. Okay, so I'm going to say my number 5, then you say your number 5, and then Katie, and then Jack
like
says.
that.
So and then we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Y'all know
Okay.
how countdowns work?
Oh, I know how
do.
it works.
Yes.
Okay, my number 5 quarterback in the year of our Lord 2022, defending Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young. That is my
Nice.
number 5 quarterback. He is he's been good, but he missed last game. He hasn't been otherworldly great, but he's been pretty. I mean, he's been really good. But I think there's been 4 guys who have had better seasons to this point. Well, this is a midseason list. Will it look the same in 6
Next
weeks,
week?
in 7
Might
weeks?
not even look
Probably
the same
not.
next
I mean, he had his best games last year after like November started. So Bryce Young is my number 5. Casey Smith,
My
who's your
number
5?
5 would be Dorian Thompson Robinson, DTR.
Yes, of course.
UCLA. We saw what happened last week. They absolutely destroyed a Utah defense that was the top in the Pac-12. He's playing really well. That offense, you've got Zach Charbonnet, you've got other guys on the offense. However, I believe it starts with DTR. I think through 6 weeks, he is the 5th best quarterback in the country.
Catherine, statistics.
I'm going to go with Quinn Ewers. I think he's more talented than some of these, but based on playing time and sample sizes, he's number 5 for me.
Jack McGuire.
Bo Nix is my 5th.
Bo Nix.
Yep.
Bo Nix.
The renaissance
yeah,
of Bo
it's-
Nix.
It's fine. He's having a good year. He's been a lot better
Good.
since. But he's top 5 quarterback. Top 5 quarterback. Bo Nix.
Yeah. Great, I would say.
He was- He's been fine.
He has much better numbers than Bryce Young.
Well, Bryce Young has been hurt.
Well,
And
he
I
had-
don't think he has much better numbers than Bryce
Oh.
Young. I don't think that's true.
All right, I'm pulling it up.
You know, pull it up right now. Here, I'll do Bryce Young stats. You do Bo Nix's stats.
Yeah, I have slow internet around here, but
Well, that's fine. I have a phone. Do you have a phone? This should be competing. Bryce Young.
Why does it feel like this is a
Stats.
weird pissing contest?
It's not a
between the
pissing
two?
contest. It's a
it's a
dick
big-
measuring contest.
Okay,
Get it
excuse me.
right.
I was gonna say that, but then I decided to downplay it a little bit. But this
pull
is
it
How many yards your
PFF.
guy got?
well, my guy runs because he's not a bitch. He has 1,500 yards passing, but on
not-
top of that, he has 70, 210, 240, 270. He has about 300 yards rushing as well.
Well, my guy has at least that much rushing. My guy has 1,202 yards passing. Again, he missed a game.
Yep.
14 touchdowns. How many you got?
20. 12, and then he's
No. That doesn't count.
Bo Nix is
Passing
dual-
touchdowns.
It's a dual threat
Passing
quarterback.
touchdowns. And then I'll get to my rushing touchdowns in a minute.
He doesn't have many.
Passing touchdowns, I got 14. How many you got?
He has 12.
All right, I got 3 interceptions. How many you got? You-
3.
Okay. My QBR is 84.7.
Yep. 86.2 for Bo Nix. 8th in the country.
Let me get my rushing stats.
Get the rushing, yeah.
Let me get the rushing stats.
this is such a dude thing that's happening right now.
All right. Well, I've got
quite
3
endearing.
touchdowns, so my total is
How many yards ran for?
18.
18?
Oh, I couldn't even add that up.
It looks like, yeah, because it's.
No, it's like 150.
Can I?
It's like 150 because it starts with 100 right there.
Oh, my guy did it against real competition.
Oh, yeah. No. The Pac-12.
Stanford,
Oh, yeah, you're
Arizona.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. He looked really good against SEC competition, too.
My guy is legit. Bo
this
Nix is great.
My guy won a Heisman.
This is the Choose Your Fighter edition of Unnecessary Roughness between Bryce Young and Bo Nix.
We're comparing Bryce Young and
Y'all
Bo Nix
gave-
right now?
That is, when you say it
For this
out loud,
season, y'all gave up on my boy Bo Nix after one bad game.
I did.
Nah.
Jack, I did.
Oh, no. That's not fair. I gave up on him long before that game.
My guy is
I
legit.
gave up on him after the legend of
All
Bo
right.
Nix died.
My number 4 quarterback. Are you guys ready?
Go ahead.
Caleb Williams, University of Southern California. Now, Caleb Williams' statistics are not all that glowing. They're fine. He hasn't dominated, but he has been a part of the transition of USC from also-ran mediocrity to top 10 playoff contender. That doesn't happen without him, and he is carrying the weight of that team. Caleb Williams is my number 4 quarterback.
My number 4 quarterback would be the aforementioned Bryce Young. I'm also putting him there. I do put him a little bit ahead of DTR. I know that he had the game, like he missed the game against A&M. However, if you notice what happened in said game, without Bryce Young, they were not great on offense, Brandon Walker. So Bryce Young obviously winning the Heisman last year, being very important to this Alabama team that is ranked 3rd in the country. I will put him at number 4, and his presence was very clearly missed in week 6.
Katie Stats.
I'm going to go with Caleb Williams, basically for everything that's been said. Yeah.
Jack McGuire.
Bo Nix.
There's always a pause. There's always a pause because I look at him and I think, do I say the Proud Boy thing? No, don't do it.
Come on,
Oh,
dude.
come on.
Just because I put Bo Nix.
Jack McGuire.
And I got DTR. He's great.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Jack's going with an all Pac-12 list today.
He's given the Pac-12 the credit it deserves.
Wait,
I
are
also
you
have
doing that?
I have a Pac-12 quarterback coming up next.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. My number 3. Let's not screw up the order. My number 3, Hendon Hooker, Tennessee. Another guy whose stats won't blow you away. He's 44th in passing yards, 47th in passing touchdowns. Hasn't thrown an interception yet, and his efficiency rating is through the roof. And when they get into big games, he has been elite. Hendon Hooker, Tennessee, my number 3.
Like I said, this list will be probably very similar across the board. My number 3 quarterback will be Caleb Williams of USC for all the things that have already been mentioned. Also, that when you look at the duo between him and Jordan Addison, it's probably one of the best in the country. And also, it's a team that people laughed in our faces when we said that they would be where they are right now. Caleb Williams,
Who was laughing at us?
a ton of people
There were
in
a
the
lot of people.
offseason.
There were a lot of people that said, "Oh, you
Have
guys
you
are
guys
falling.
watched football?
You guys are falling in the trap
Oklahoma
and stuff."
fan?
No,
Oh,
it was
yeah,
some
no.
more than that. It was people saying you say this about USC every year, or
Yeah,
shit like that.
like have you watched USC play? And my response was, well, did you see Caleb Williams
Well,
play when
the
he was at OU?
When people said that, have you watched USC play? Well, no, nobody had seen this USC team.
And now everybody's watching them.
You think
No.
they're going to win this weekend?
Yes. Yes.
I think they're going to win, and I think they're going to win handily.
Wow, okay.
Utah is a tough place to play,
Yeah?
but
Tricky, too.
I've discovered something.
Okay. Interesting.
Why don't you save it till Thursday?
Would you like to know what I've discovered?
Yeah, I'm game to know, of course.
Who has Utah lost to?
Well, they lost
Dual
to
threat
UCLA.
quarterbacks?
Florida and UCLA. What do they have in common?
Blue colors?
Dual threat quarterbacks.
Dual threat quarterbacks.
They don't know how to defend them. They look lost against both of them. And Anthony Richardson isn't good. Now they got the best one coming in.
I almost think people are being too smart, thinking like, Utah's play.
All right, we'll see.
We'll see.
The spread is weird.
Where are we at?
Katie.
Me.
Katie, number 3.
It gets in the way of the clip. No. It's hard to describe. I'll show you an example.
Okay.
Ow.
Katie, who's your number 3? What happened to you?
Pinched himself.
I just
All
something
right.
happened. I don't know.
Number 3, I am going with Bryce Young.
Bryce Young?
Yep.
Alabama. Jack McGuire.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams. Almost, well, you ruined it, Katie. We almost had Caleb Williams 3 across the board.
No, you
Oh,
have
so I
Caleb
had him
Williams
4.
4.
I ruined it. Never
Yeah,
mind. We
yeah,
ruined it, Katie.
what?
Me and you ruined it.
I think that we'll probably all have the same number 1, if I had to guess.
Yeah, well,
Not to jump ahead. Go ahead. Who's your
I
number
haven't
2?
heard a certain name out of any of you
Okay.
that I'm getting a little upset about.
Well,
so I'm
I
gonna
know
go
who it
next.
is.
I'm going to
Go
go
ahead,
next.
go ahead.
Number 2, and I don't know what football y'all be watching. Will Rogers has got 2,200 yards. He's got 22 touchdowns. He's thrown 3 interceptions. He has been fantastic. He just set the record for completions in the SEC for a career, even though he's not even played half a career yet. Will Rogers, Mississippi State. Tell me I'm lying.
I do not have him on my list. Now,
You're such a
if I would listen, first of all, I know you were with your family, so you were not paying attention to what we were streaming, which why would you? I gave a ton of credit to how good Will Rogers is most of the time on Saturday. Also, the Saturdays for I like Will Rogers. Statistically, yes, he is number 1. However, when I look at how that offense is run and the way the offense is run, it's a Mike Leach offense. He's going to put up a ton of numbers. I would like to see a little bit of a vertical game from Will Rogers to put him in.
Well, guess what? Whoever runs the Alabama offense is going to put up a ton of numbers every year too.
Yeah, but so
Everybody-
you're saying,
whoever-
you think Will Rogers
No.
is as good as Bryce Young?
All I'm saying is there are certain systems that people say, oh yeah, well the guy's going to
I'm
put. No, it's not against you. People will say, Will Rogers is a system quarterback, and he's going to put up numbers because he's in that system. Okay, well, whoever's the Ohio State quarterback is going to put up monster numbers every year. Whoever the Alabama quarterback is going to put up monster numbers every year. We only say it about certain teams and systems.
It used to be Clemson, not last year.
I agree with you to a certain point. I do think there's been Alabama quarterbacks that have been just game managers that don't put up crazy numbers. I think Will Rogers is a very good quarterback.
But
clearly, his statistics.
With Alabama, it switched, though. It went game manager,
Tua.
and then when they got the Hurts and Tua switched it.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, it's been just monster.
The thing with the Mississippi State offense is that, and I think that thus far they've very clearly played a great season. However, when LSU's defense just stepped up a little bit, he did start to struggle.
Well, yeah, everybody can struggle.
Well, of course.
Who's your number 2?
My number 2 would be Hendon Hooker, Tennessee.
Okay.
We've spoken about it. That offense is, for the cliche term, it's electric. He is thus far probably the name that's gone the highest up the Heisman watch list of anybody else so far. And I am very excited for Saturday's game.
Katie Stats.
My number 2 is also Hendon Hooker.
Okay. Will you make it a Hooker sweep at number 2?
Hooker sweep. It's a Hugh Freeze sweep. I got Hendon Hooker at 2.
It's not, though, because Brandon put Hendon Hooker at 3.
Oh,
So
never mind.
Well, I said aside from me, and,
okay.
and you missed his terrific Hugh Freeze joke.
Yeah. I was trying to.
Hooker. Prostitute. Slut.
no,
Okay.
Oh, gee.
we don't shame sex workers.
No, we shame Hugh Freeze.
Oh,
At all times. When did we start not doing that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I missed your joke, Jack.
And number 1.
By the way, Pride bet hit.
Pride bed did
For
hit.
my 3 picks
so
I've given
wait a
out on
minute.
this show,
I
3-0.
I was almost certain you would have Will Rogers on your top 5. You didn't
All
come
right,
through
so
for me.
there's 2 quarterbacks that I left off that are actually 3 that I feel bad about. Will, Jalen, and then Drake May is putting up disgusting numbers.
Right? Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
It's
those
top
are-
5 list, though.
I know.
Okay.
He's
Yeah,
just saying those are his honorable mentions.
All right.
And then one.
Unless you still want to say it out.
I mean,
you want to
obviously,
say it
we're
all
all
on the
the
count
same.
of 3?
Yeah,
Number
okay.
1, 3, 2, 1.
C.J. Stroud.
Ohio State. Yeah. I mean, the guy's got 24 touchdown passes.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clearly C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, C.J. Stroud, number
He's
1.
minus money on the Heisman odds now.
Yeah,
Rightfully so.
Although, I will say this about C.J. Stroud. He hasn't played his toughest competition yet. That's all in front of him.
Yep.
All of that's in front of him.
But
Whereas
thus far,
thus far, it's been great.
yeah,
He's done what he's supposed to do.
right.
Although the Notre Dame defense did slow him down a little bit. So I wonder
True.
if the Penn State defense will be able to do the same. I wonder if the Michigan defense, which isn't as good as either of those other 2, I wonder if they're able to do the same. But so far, he's passed every test and he's been elite. But he's also helped by having the best receiver room in the country and maybe the best running back. Not maybe, the best running back room in the country. All right, we switch quickly to, and I guess we don't have to go as slow here. So do y'all want to do just unveil your top 5s at once on the running backs? See how that feels?
I don't know. You tell me. I'm pulling up the stats because I feel like I'm gonna need backup for some of mine.
You think Notre Dame's defense is better than Michigan's?
I do.
Okay.
I think Notre Dame's
I
got an
do
elite
not.
defense.
I
don't think
I do not
Michigan's
think that.
defense has had to face any test yet.
Oh, no, that part I won't disagree with. I do not think Notre Dame has an elite defense.
They have an elite.
Maryland has a very good offense. They fared pretty well against them.
Pretty well. They gave up 29 points, didn't they?
Well, there was like a garbage time touchdown at the end. I think they gave up 24.
Garbage time counts.
It shouldn't.
It's an asterisk counts.
Yeah.
I do think Notre Dame has a better defense than Michigan. That's
Okay.
my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm
my
not going to
opinion.
fight
That's
you.
fine.
You're
I
allowed.
don't know if I would say elite for Notre Dame, but they lost to Marshall.
It's really fucking good.
They
So
lost to Marshall though.
Coaches?
Yeah, they did, but that's
I
in
don't
the
think
past.
I don't
That's in the
think I know,
past.
it is in the past, but I don't think elite defenses lose to Marshall. That's just my thought process.
They handled Drake May. They handled Jaron Hall. They've played some good-ass quarterbacks, and they handled C.J. Stroud. They played some good fucking quarterbacks. And they have,
I am not taking away from that they have a good defense. I do not think
I will say
they have
though,
elite.
I said it before
Semantics.
in the preview show for Week 6. Notre Dame's going to be a factor, specifically at the end of the season,
They're
because
off
they
the
have
map.
games
Yeah.
against Clemson and USC.
and they
And
figured out
Syracuse.
their quarterback spot.
Yeah, so I mean, shout out to Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman, undefeated as a Catholic.
All right, so running backs, my top 5.
You just gonna go?
I went first last time. You do your top 5.
We're gonna do all 5 now. We're not gonna go in a row.
I asked if you wanted to do all 5.
Let's do
and
all
you
5.
Let's do all 5. Okay. Since we're going backwards, I am going to have honorable mention for our guy Chase Brown.
Wow.
I know that
He didn't make the top 5?
He did not make the top 5.
Damn.
Not because he's obviously putting up the yards, but in my opinion,
We interviewed him.
yeah, no, I know. That's why I'm making sure to put honorable
I
mention
did.
on there, because that offense. I mean, when you're winning 9-6, and yes,
he's their only offense.
He's there, but he's had 4 touchdowns total on the season. These other guys are putting up bigger numbers in better offensive games. My
Okay.
number now, I say that I realize I'm having my one homer pick. You
That's
had
fine.
a little bit of a homer pick.
No.
I'm going to take a little bit of a homer pick. This is a because.
First of all, hold on. I don't think A-Chain's a homer pick, and I don't think Will Rogers was a homer
I know.
pick.
I'm just.
Okay, all right.
I am going to put Devon A-Chain at number 5. If he was on an offense that had a quarterback that was decent most of the time, an offense that wasn't set in 1985, he would be probably leading the country for running backs. He's unbelievable. I still cannot believe they did not give him the ball.
I love 1985.
He's
There was
he's number
Springsteen,
6 in all-purpose yards.
Madonna.
He's unbelievable.
This was way before Nirvana.
Oh God.
There was U2 and Blondie,
Blondie.
and music still on
On
MTV.
Yeah. I wasn't born then, so.
Her 2 kids in high school tell her that she's unschooled, but she's still preoccupied with 1985.
That's a good song. I forgot about that song. Yes, no, not a homer pick. He would be there. Unfortunately, he just plays for an offense that is.
Is he an honorable mention or is he 5?
No, he's 5.
Okay.
Number 4 would be, you talked about Ohio State having a great. You said Ohio State has one of the best running back.
They have the
rooms.
best running back.
Would be Mayan Williams
Yeah.
from Ohio State.
I love him so much.
I do as well. Bijan Robinson, number 3, the University of Texas.
Yep.
Number 2 would be Izzy. I'm not even going to try to say his last name.
Abanikanda.
Izzy to the hizzy.
Izzy to the hizzy.
Mm-hmm.
I
Buy
will
his
have
shirt
him.
on the Barstool store if you love him. He gets 70% of the profits.
80% of
Is
Izzy to the hizzy.
Izzy to the hizzy. We have those.
I've
those
asked for
shirts
the
coming.
I've
Yeah.
asked for those shirts.
And I'm going to be getting
They've been shipped.
a crew neck
Can-
of that.
can just
When
buy
you
one
look at
for him?
his.
Support him.
Oh.
I mean, I'm Brandon Walker. I don't buy things.
Oh, okay.
All right.
When you look at just simply numbers, he obviously is very high up there in touchdowns and yards. And then my number 1, and Brandon, you said this is pandering. I don't believe that it is pandering. Blake Corum.
This is such bullshit.
No, it's not. He's
I think that's fine.
He's 2nd in the nation in touchdowns. He's 3rd in the nation in yards, and that offense heavily relies
He's
on
pretty
Blake
fucking
Corum.
good, man.
He's very good. I don't think he's
leads-
3rd in the nation in
Damn,
yards,
y'all-
is he?
Yes,
you
he is.
hate Michigan.
In
I
total
don't hate
yards?
Michigan. I just don't think
No,
he's.
in rushing yards.
Or yeah, in rushing yards.
He's
He
third
is.
in he's 3rd in the country in rushing yards, and he's 2nd in the country in touchdowns.
Yeah, the guy who's leading the country in rushing yards you have as honorable mention.
But I'm looking at touchdowns and yards. I'm looking at the importance to the offense.
Okay.
And now listen, I have Chase Brown as an honorable mention. He's obviously the only thing that offense has, but when your offense is scoring 9 total points, like yes, he's running the ball all over the world. They're not getting into the end zone.
All right. That's your number 1, Blake Corum.
Corum, yes.
Michigan. Katie Stats.
Mine will be in reverse order. This is a weird one, but he's number 2 in all-purpose yards. Is Johnny Lang from Arkansas State.
Okay,
Just
fair
insane.
enough. Johnny Lang. Shout out Johnny Lang in Arkansas State.
Johnny Lang sounds like a serial killer name.
No, he sounds like a character off the Karate Kid.
Yeah, he's averaging 147 yards a game, which is insane.
Johnny Lang.
9.9 yards a
I bet
play.
Johnny Lang can fix the hell out of your tires.
Number 4, Deuce Vaughn. Number 3, Mo Ibrahim. 2, Chase Brown. Number 1, Izzy to the Hizzy.
Izzy to the Hizzy.
Izzy to the Hizzy. By the way, if you have a nickname in college football that everyone can just get behind, it's awesome.
I can't believe there's a running back on my list that hasn't been mentioned yet, but we'll see if Jack
I think
mentions
I know who it
There's
is.
a lot.
Go ahead. There are. Go ahead, Jack McGuire.
All right, 5, Bijan Robinson. 4, Jahmyr Gibbs. We do not give him enough love. Without Jahmyr Gibbs, Alabama low-key may have 2 losses, maybe even 3. It's crazy to say, but he is an X factor for them and was one of the best. We should really rank the best transfers one show.
We'll do it next show.
And
Next
he's
Tuesday.
one of them. 3, Blake Corum. 2, Izzy to the Izzy. 1, Chase Brown.
Wow. So I'm going to have one guy to myself. I can't
I
believe
know who it is. Can I guess?
No, because I want to say it myself.
I think I said it earlier in the show already.
You might have. Who knows? My number 5 is Mo Ibrahim. He's played only 4 games, and he's still up there with over 538 yards. He's still remarkably important to that team. I think he is probably the best running back in the country. Number 4 for me, Blake Corum, Michigan. I have him very high. Number 3, Izzy to the Hizzy.
Izzy.
As he makes it a clean sweep across the board, getting on our list. My number 2, this team is not undefeated right now if this guy doesn't play for him. I know DTR gets all the love, but Zach Charbonnet is a fucking horse, a fucking man out at UCLA, and I proudly wave the Charbonnet flag alone on this show, and that's fine.
I did mention him earlier. So
And
it's
my
dumb
number
I didn't put
1
him on my list.
is, again, honorable mention for Casey Smith, but my number 1 is Chase Brown.
Chase Brown, unnecessary roughness athlete.
Chase Brown, Illinois. He is number 1 for me and Jack, number 2 for Katie, and number 6 for Casey Smith.
Really big game for Illinois this weekend against Minnesota.
Really big game for
Yeah.
Illinois.
Gigantic.
That line's weird too.
When you make this graphic,
Their
I want
defense
his
is
honorable
disgusting.
mention.
It's
Illinois, yeah.
Thank you.
And
Their offense is also disgusting without
without
DeVito, too.
DeVito, yeah. Artur Sikowski.
This guy,
He's
Al Sitkowski, just keeps getting jobs and keeps getting assignments. Is unbelievable.
Sorry.
she just thought about
Does
some
she-
Artur
Yeah.
Sikowski highlights.
All right, so we'll go the receivers quickly, I guess.
Yeah, well, we kind of went through those fast. Brandon, I saw a tweet come through.
Yeah, I see a lot of tweets.
I see a lot of tweets too. Sometimes I don't want to see the tweets, but sometimes I do. I saw a nice roughneck gentleman
Yeah.
bought the burnt titanium ridge wallet.
Do we have nice roughneck gentlemen?
We do.
Yeah, he wanted to eat it.
And he said it does in fact look delicious.
Confirmed delicious. Yes.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
He had a nice picture. First of all, it looked great.
Yeah.
It looked sleek. It was very, the thing about Ridge wallets is that it has the ultra slim look,
Yeah.
but he made sure we knew burnt
Got-
titanium looks delicious.
These bulky wallets are out. You want a slim wallet. You want something that doesn't look like you're carrying a lot. It holds up to 12 cards. It has room for cash. It's an ultra slim minimalist wallet. There's over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and the always delicious looking burnt titanium.
And they also have the key organizer that secures anywhere from 2 to 6 keys. It's a compact silhouette. It's fold out. And they also have the burnt titanium in that. But they have 6 other colors as well. And I am telling you guys, I've seen the Ridge wallet. I've held the Ridge wallet. They are awesome because you can put so much stuff in there, but you're not going to be sitting uncomfortably. And fellas, no one wants to sit uncomfortably.
Nobody wants to sit uncomfortably. Ridge Wallet, the best slim wallet out there. Go to ridge.com and use the code UR for 10% off your order. Tell them that again.
Ridge.com. Use the card.
Wow,
See,
I thought you could do it.
Well, I'm talking
I
about
thought
credit
you could
cards.
do it.
I'm thinking about credit cards.
Try it
Wow,
again.
look at Ridge.com and use the code UR, the letters UR, for 10% off your order.
You are the worst. Oh, we haven't done coaches yet, but do receivers.
You want me to go?
Sure.
Number 5, I have Jacob Cowing at Arizona, which is wild to say, but his numbers are crazy.
That's a transfer right there.
Yep.
46 catches, 643 yards, 7 touchdowns. I have number 4, Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State, the Ohio State University. I have number 3, Xavier Hutchinson of Iowa State. Iowa State not playing, great football, but his numbers, 57 catches, 604 yards, 5 touchdowns. Number 2, kind of the same thing that Brandon said about Caleb Williams, but Jordan Addison doesn't have the craziest numbers in the country, but when you look at that duo and the connection that they have, USC is a monster. And the number 1, would be the guy we've talked about already. I would put Marvin Harrison Jr. as the number 1 wide receiver in the country through 6 weeks.
All right, here we go. I'll go number 5. My number 5, and I didn't base mine on stats. I based mine because I don't think the receivers have put up the numbers yet. I think that when they get into the tough games, you'll see them separate. When you play bad teams, you can spread the ball around to other guys. But when you play close games, you got to go to your guy. So my number 5, that big motherfucker from Florida State.
He's huge.
With that big motherfucker from Florida State.
I know him. 14, I think.
Johnny Wilson.
Johnny Wilson.
Gigantic human
I don't
being.
even know his numbers. All I know is the one game that we saw about Florida, or not the one game, but the game against LSU, he was good, and then against Louisville on that Friday night,
He was disgusting.
he looked like the greatest player that I've ever seen play football.
It's like, where's the 6'7" motherfucker been?
And with this big motherfucker, he had 12 catches at Arizona State last year. Goes to Florida State, all of a sudden he's incredible.
Like, how do you not use him?
My number 4.
Oh, no. Why are you standing up?
Oh, my God. Oh.
Oh, boy. No.
Duckling. Yeah.
Oh, that was cute.
That was great.
All
That
right.
was cute.
There you go. Caleb Ducking, Mississippi State. 8 touchdowns, I think, so far. Mississippi State, by the way, where Rogers has disgusting numbers, they're spreading it around so much.
Yes.
They have 6 guys over 20 catches. 6 guys over 20 catches.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Number 3, Charlie Jones, Purdue. Also a transfer. He's incredible.
Yes.
Purdue just continues having elite receivers.
Talk about a guy who got out of hell
He transferred from Iowa.
and joined his best friend.
But don't you think every receiver from Iowa is just like, okay, well, I got to go somewhere too?
Yes.
Like, they were like, why am I just not at
Right.
Army or
Why am
something?
I not at Purdue?
Yeah.
That's 3. 2, I went with a 1-2 sweep.
Yeah?
I got Emeka Egbuka, Ohio State 2, and I got Marvin Harrison Jr., number 1, because they have lost. They have been without the services of the very best receiver in the country, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and it has not mattered.
It has not mattered a single second.
Not a second. All right, Jack, go.
All right. At number 5, I have who I think is actually the best wide receiver in the country, Fotis Kokociolis. You don't know who he is because he goes to Fordham, but let me tell you, this guy is disgusting, all right? He's only had 5 games, and he's put up 812 yards, 9 touchdowns. He played Ohio, his only FBS game. No. Katie put up on there someone from Fordham. That's fucked up.
Say the name again.
It's
Fotis
hard.
Kokociolis.
Fotis Kokociolis. And he, against Ohio, in the greatest over in the history of college football that no one listened to me about.
I listened.
Yeah, Brandon didn't. 13 receptions, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns in 1 game. Photo Kokociolis is different, and shout
Built
out to
different.
him. Number
What are
4.
the chances you're saying that name wrong?
Probably 98%.
Okay.
4, Keelan Stokes over at Tulsa. He's putting up disgusting numbers with a team that not a lot of people care about, but Tulsa's such a weird team. Like, it's in the middle of Oklahoma.
True.
They are never really bad.
Yeah.
They're always kind of in games. Like last year, they almost took it to Ohio State, but then ended up almost not covering.
Who did they almost? Oh, Ole Miss. Yeah.
this year.
They're very good against ranked teams.
Yeah.
Like their system play. Like when you see them playing a ranked team,
They throw the ball a lot.
They throw
They're
it a
gonna
lot,
do very
and
well.
Keelan Stokes catches it. Number 3, Charlie Jones, as mentioned. And then at number 2, I have Rashee Rice from SMU, who looks like just phenomenal when I watch him run routes and then catches the ball. I think he wears 14, something about wide receivers wearing double digits from 10 to 20. I don't know why, just
Yeah, that's weird.
attractive to me. Number
I guess
1,
it's
Marvin
13.
Harrison Jr. He's been great. He follows me on TikTok too, so shout out to him.
Everybody follows you on TikTok, Jack.
Not everyone. Marvin Harrison does though.
And isn't it crazy how successful Jack's been on TikTok? It's just Jack.
It is just Jack.
Can you believe that?
I know.
It's
Imagine if
just
it were
Jack.
one of the talented people, but it's just Jack.
I know. No, it's crazy.
Just boring old Jack.
Just
Yeah.
Jack. If Jack could do it, my
I know.
God, what about
I
the rest
know,
of
I know.
you?
No,
Like
it's crazy.
even Jack Mac can do it.
Personality of an ant.
Yes.
What's her name?
Katie.
Katie.
Go.
I picked mine. I did mine straight by yards just to have like a different mix in there. So number 5, Jacob Cowing, Arizona.
Well, he's active today, huh?
I just spit everywhere. He's
all right.
mad at me.
What happened?
Jacob
I don't
Cohen?
know.
Oh,
No.
Oh,
He just
Start that rumor. Jacob Cowing kicked Casey.
No, Brandon just looked over and he's active today because I just got punched
Yeah.
again. Ow!
Oh, just relax.
Okay, sorry.
because I heard screaming, so I thought you were talking about Frank
No,
for a second.
he-
Who's more active?
Every time I look over here, Casey's in a 10-round fight,
and it's like not super painful
and he
yet.
hasn't even got to the age where he should be kicking you
you
that
know what
much
he's
yet.
mad about? Chase Brown.
Chase Brown,
Yeah.
I can't believe this.
He can't believe you put him as an honorable mention.
No, he shouldn't be this active. My doctor said he's very active, but he loves to make his presence known.
Oh, he's okay.
Oh.
Good for him.
Just like his mother.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
You.
Katie stats.
Number 4, Emeka Ibuka from Ohio State. 3, Keelan Stokes, Tulsa. 2, Rashi Rice, SMU. Number 1, Ollie Jennings III from ODU, who is leading the country in yards per game.
Who? Oh, yeah, the ODU guy.
Yeah. Do you need to step outside?
No, what's that going to change?
That
I don't
is
know.
true.
Yeah.
Like,
that's-
guess what? Passengers here for a while.
Yeah. All
Yeah, what are you
right.
supposed to do? Yeah.
Can't do anything. Just you're supposed to like hold him to let him know that like you're here. But I'm like, he knows that I'm here.
Yeah, that's what he's mad about.
Oh, is that a thing? You like supposed to hold?
Yeah,
it?
if you like hold, they can feel. It's crazy. They can feel right now. They can see light. So if like you put like a flashlight up to you, but it's like, what
Wow.
am I supposed to do?
Almost sounds like a human.
Yeah, right. So, anyways,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you got it.
I got it.
yeah,
Huh. Let's keep this to
No,
college
no, you're right. No, no,
football.
sorry.
right.
yeah. I would like it on record that he is in the middle of like
Yeah.
he's 22 weeks.
All right, coaches.
23.
Now this one's interesting.
It is, but I also feel like we have to all have the same answers.
I don't know. I think there's some that'll stick out to you a little bit more. But Casey, you know what? You went first twice.
Let Katie go first.
Let Katie go first.
All right, let Jack go
Let
first.
Jack go first.
All right, you're gonna hate my list.
Ooh, sorry.
What?
See, Brandon's getting kicked
All right.
now. See,
So
He has
this
a
is tough. These aren't like
phantom
if I
baby.
had to rank like pound for pound right now in the history. It's obviously like Saban would be one, but he's not on here.
Right. I based it based on what they've done in 2022.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree.
Like
Me
Saban's
too.
been great, and I think he's.
Yeah.
But this isn't the list for him.
It's like
5,
based on
I have James
expectations.
Franklin.
Interesting.
I really think there was a lot of discussion about James Franklin going to the season where we thought, oh, wait a second, is he going to win that big game? He hasn't played the biggest games yet,
Yeah.
but he took care of business going down to Auburn. He took care of business against Purdue.
I think his Purdue win is going to age really well.
yeah. Especially, I mean, he played a healthy Purdue team. 4, Jim Harbaugh. This is a guy that we came in thinking, oh, Michigan wasn't going to be very good. I know they haven't had their tough test yet, but I think they're just as good. He's reloaded on the defense.
I'm
Brandon.
rolling my eyes at you.
Brandon acts like he just smelled.
They
the
went
worst
to the
smell
playoff.
ever.
Last. They have played nobody. They played nobody.
Yeah, but we were told that they were going to be like not good.
Well, that could still be in front of
He's
us when they
saying
play
just
teams.
just through 6 weeks.
And the
Brandon.
defense, all we heard all offseason was the defense is going to have to replace
But
so
how would
much.
we know that their defense is good?
Well, is Maryland not good all of a sudden?
Yeah, again, 29 points. Like Maryland was in that game till the end.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were.
They were not.
They were in that game.
Michigan had a win
If you can
expectancy.
score if you can score a
have-
touchdown and get an onside kick, you're in the game.
Michigan had a win expectancy of 98% at the end of that
Maryland
game.
was in. Everybody has a win expectancy of 100% at the end of a game.
No,
He said
no,
98.
based on the stats, the underlying stats. Sometimes teams win when they shouldn't.
Okay.
That's the beauty of football.
Fine.
Number 2, Jim Mora. He has rebounded a program that was dead. And this
Brandon's-
is my guy, Jim Mora.
Did you
Shout
skip
out
one?
to Jim
Yeah.
Mora.
Because you said 2, but you
Oh,
only give
my
him-
bad. 3, I have Josh Heupel. Great job.
Great job.
Apparently, Jack only likes coaches that start with the letter J.
Yeah, this is crazy. Jim Moore has been great. The Revolution, Husky Revolution.
Yeah.
And this week we're going to Muncie, Indiana, and it's time to take down the Ball State Cardinals. Number 1, Sonny Dykes. I mean, we haven't talked about Brent Venables yet this show, but we've talked about him a lot. And it's like, oh, he's on his first season. You got to give him some time. I'm hearing about Mel Tucker, who's in his 3rd season. We need to give him some time. Sonny Dykes Sonny Dice is in his first season, and he's putting up disgusting numbers. And guess what? He's going to win another. He's going to win a top 10 game again on Saturday.
Okay, no, wait, hold on. This is your weekly or episodely, that's not a word, reminder that if you're not watching YouTube, you are missing a Brandon Walker spaz attack. Go ahead, Brandon.
If I made fun of her for not having Chase Brown in her top 5, I've got to look you dead in the eye and say, what in the fuck are you talking about without Lance Leipold in your list of top 5 coaches this year?
I mean, he's been good.
Good? He's Kansas. It's the worst program in college football, and he is 5-1, and he only lost to another undefeated team.
Yeah, he lost to a guy on my
Brandon,
team.
Sonny Dykes is on the list. Fine, great. Lance Leipold isn't better than Jim Harbaugh or James Franklin this year? Or Jim Mora?
Okay, so maybe if I didn't have Jim Mora there, I would have had Lance Leipold, but I got to give respect to Jim Mora.
You know how you have, and you're not going to admit this, but you know how you kind of have like your anti-Michigan like bias built in?
I don't.
You do. Jack also, what I've learned over the last couple of weeks, whether he means to or not, whether it's subconscious or not, he has an anti-Kansas agenda.
No, I don't. I like Kansas.
I think I just realized something.
But
Jack's a UConn fan.
I'm following.
Jack's a UConn basketball fan.
No, we don't.
Jack doesn't like other basketball schools.
No, I like
he doesn't like
UNC.
Michigan State. He doesn't like Kansas.
Well, Michigan State's barely a basketball school.
He doesn't. I just discovered it.
Link.
He doesn't like basketball schools.
No, I do. I like UCLA. I
fine.
have DTR.
He's fine with UNC.
I just said Drake May.
He said Drake May.
I also like Duke. I think it's great what
Duke doesn't have
All right,
what's going on over there.
Let's see. What is that? All right. Your list is crazy.
Well, guess what? Him more is him.
Katie Stats.
I can't wait for that to die, by the way.
Katie Stats.
Jim Mora?
No,
No.
just
Oh, I was like,
fucking
what?
calling everything him.
That. I like, when we sit in the gambling cave
Josh
with all,
Hempel?
like literally every single,
They did it
Harbaugh?
for Serena Williams.
I mean,
No,
it is,
Harina.
Harina and Dave got mad about. That was one of my greatest captions ever, and that was before anybody was saying her. I started that movement as a feminist. Boom.
it is so overused. Not the her part. The when we're sitting watching games with like 10 to 15 different dudes, all of them the same. Everyone's like, he's him, he's him, he's him, and it's like,
Yes,
who the
sir.
fuck are you talking about right now? We have 17 games on.
Him downstairs. Katie Stats.
Number 5, Brett Bielema. I think no one really saw Illinois
That's
coming
a good one. I like that.
this year. Chip Kelly, very quietly creeping up there.
It's a good list.
Number 3,
Better than
Sonny
yours.
Dykes, similar to what Jack said.
Way better than yours.
Number 2, I don't think anyone else is going to have him, but Kirk Cignetti. He's James Madison's head coach. I think they made the jump from FCS to FBS. They are whooping. I know it's just a Sun Belt, but
Yeah.
they are whooping people's asses. Like they're number 1
Respect.
and 2 in defense and offense.
Goes to show that these FCS teams are like can really the top tier can hop into FBS and
Yeah.
really succeed.
And then number 1, you're welcome, Brandon, Lance Leipold.
I mean, how could it not be? How could it not be? For anybody that watches college football, how could it not be? However,
I don't watch the games, you know that.
yes, he's an AP voter. I'm going to do my list now.
Okay.
Well, that's why I told you to go like this, bro. Little bro.
Is Jack him?
It's just-
Anyway,
our
Noah
list-
on. It's
I'm
Noah
looking.
him.
I'm looking at your list and I'm looking at my list, and they're the exact same.
Different
just
order?
Different order. Yeah.
so there's a couple of them. There's one on my list I haven't heard, and I'm shocked about it. I'll get to it in a minute. Number 5, Chip Kelly. He has, in fact, built that program out in silence. He's just and he had to go through an offseason where Lincoln Riley's a new man in town, and Chip Kelly just shows up in the season. Undefeated start, has 2 ranked wins. Chip Kelly, number 5. Sonny Dykes, number 4, has revived TCU. They were really, and even before they fired Patterson, they were just kind of a zombie for the last 2 or 3 years under Patterson, and they have life again
And
immediately.
maybe they'd have an upset, but they would then fall to
Yeah.
a lesser than Texas Tech.
My number 3, Josh Heupel, in his second year, is about to play the biggest Tennessee football game in the last 2 decades. Again, he's in his second season,
Oh, yeah.
and he needs credit. Now, here's my number 2, and I can't believe it hasn't been mentioned at all.
Mike Leach?
It will be mentioned on mine.
Lincoln Riley
Okay. that's fair.
immediately revived USC from moribund mediocrity into national title contender.
Yep.
I initially had him on my list, but I took him off because I feel like obviously it was high expectations.
But
he's-
but they had high expectations because they had Lincoln Riley.
Right.
yeah, well, plus the transfer, like
He
did
got those though.
Like,
Right.
No one expected Lance Leipold to do that.
Correct.
No one expected
I understand.
Sonny Dykes.
But they
There were
expected Lincoln Riley to do it
expectations.
because he's Lincoln Riley.
But think
I agree.
about
There's also pieces, too.
But to back him up, think about the job he left and the guy who took over there,
Mm-hmm.
and how poorly he's doing with the same transfer portals and whatnot, and what he did with a program that was down, and he revived it within 6 to 7
Seconds.
games. You know what I mean?
Oh, it
Yeah.
took him 20 minutes to build that
Like if we're
rebuild
gonna
literally
roster.
hate
seconds.
on Brent Venables, which I know you don't specifically
Yeah.
doing that,
I
but
do.
we do as a podcast, we have to give credit to what Lincoln Riley's done.
Lincoln Riley would be my top 10. I initially had him and bumped
Yeah,
him,
yeah,
so he's
yeah.
like 7 or 8 for me. But
And my number one.
Oh,
Then I'll
wow.
give it to your list.
I know who your number one is.
Because you're going to talk about Lincoln Riley too, I assume. My number one is Lance Leipold. The man has created joy and fun football in Kansas. They were deader than dead ever been dead. They for over a decade they were averaging 1 win a season. It was garbage. It was terrible. They were as low as you could go. And a year and a half into his tenure, they're 5-1. They've only lost to a top 15 team, and they had game day. Like, everything has changed.
So this is my question. What I think a lot about from a Kansas perspective, building up a program that is dead is a lot different than building a program that to win national championships. If that makes any sense.
It is, but it isn't. Okay, so the
gaps are
you have a
pretty-
chance to win a national championship because you have resources, because you have everything, you have access to players. Kansas had nothing.
So Les Miles came in and made it almost worse. And
Correct.
he- and-
Les Miles, a coach who had won a national title
That's
before,
what I'm saying,
goes
yeah.
into Kansas and everything blows up in front of him.
Do you think Lance Leipold would succeed at, let's say he just stepped in at Georgia?
Lance Leipold succeeded at Wisconsin Whitewater.
Yep.
Lance Leipold succeeded at Buffalo.
Yep.
Lance Leipold is succeeding at Kansas, and wherever he coaches next year, he will succeed.
Okay.
That is my opinion.
Do you think he's at Kansas next year?
I hope so, but I do not think so.
Okay.
Casey Smith.
I have the same guys, different order. My number 5 would be Josh Heupel. My number 4 would be Chip Kelly. My number 3 is Lincoln Riley. And to go even further than what Brandon said, because I absolutely agree that he's in the top. Also, he was one of those stories that took over college football, but what did everybody say? Oh, he left Oklahoma because he's running away from the SEC. He's too scared to have to do that. He's just going to go to his mansion out in LA, and he's going to be comfortable in a down Pac-12. And now he is not only proven that leaving OU was the right decision for him, he brought the transfers. He took guys from Oklahoma. He took guys from all over the country and has continued that hype at USC. Lincoln Riley, Jack, as the kids would say, is him. I have Sonny Dykes at number 2.
Lincoln Riley.
Nope.
Lincoln
Stop.
Himley.
Nope.
The reason I have Sonny Dykes ahead of Lincoln Riley is just because with the talent that Lincoln brought to USC, I do feel like, and not to say TCU doesn't have talent because they clearly do, but Lincoln got like some of the big name guys, Jordan Addison, Caleb Williams, you go down the list. For Sonny Dykes to do it at TCU in his first year is incredible. And then obviously the obvious answer to obviously be number 1 is Lance Leipold at Kansas.
I mean, we have 4 lists. 3 of them have Lance Leipold number 1, and then you don't have him on your top 5 at all.
I mean,
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you.
I should have had him in. I'm not going to change mine for the sanctity and respect towards the list because I didn't have him, and I'm not afraid. What?
Jalen Daniels is supposedly about to miss the rest of the season.
Oh, well,
You know,
that's
it
too
stinks
bad.
for Kansas, but I think Jason Bean can play.
Yeah,
And
Jason Bean's pretty good.
No, Jason Bean can play.
That does suck for Jalen Daniels, though.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
We hate people getting hurt.
He was having a hell of a year. So there you go. Lance Leipold number 1, Lance Leipold number 1, Lance Leipold number 1, Lance Leipold not on the list. Okay. That just is what it is. Hey, you made fun of her.
Hemora.
You made fun of her not having
Hemora.
Chase Brown.
No. And I did have Chase Brown.
No, I ain't make fun of her. Her baby did.
Yeah, you said her baby did though.
Chase Brown is on my list.
He's your honorable mention.
Doesn't matter.
Nobody. By the way, nobody else in
Sorry,
this podcast had an honorable mention in any list except for you. Did anybody have an honorable
I
mention?
did. Quarterbacks.
Shut
I
up.
said Drake May.
Shut up.
I said.
Shut up, Jack.
And also,
It wasn't on your list. You said it later.
Since
Oh,
when
I
have
said honorable mentions. Like there's 3 guys I left off. Oh my goodness.
since when are we
gracious.
not allowed to put honorable mentions?
Is it really honorable if we're just mentioning them?
Yes.
Mentioning them.
Yes. Honorable mention.
John Noah was Asian?
What? Oh, my
I
God.
didn't even notice. I guess
Give
I'm
us
just,
your because list.
I guess I'm just a better person than you guys.
You know that actually makes you worse.
Yeah.
Because you
does.
don't understand how
plights.
the plights of a diverse man in a company like ours that is predominantly white.
Facts.
Boom.
It
That's
actually
right.
does make
I
you
went to a
worse.
liberal arts school.
The thing about Jack is he's so versed in warfare with the
Yes.
other side that he can go. He knows the woke tactics and he can be
Yep.
woke in a second.
Oh, I could be more than woke. Get me on MSNBC.
So, no. All right. You know what the best people watch?
Unnecessary roughness.
Okay. Good point.
The
Good
Barstool
point.
College Football Show.
Second good point you've made.
The Brandon Walker College
We're
Football
gonna
Show.
move. Nobody watches that. All right, we're going to move on. America's fifth major sport is back on MTV. It's called The Challenge, and this one is The Challenge Ride or Dies.
I got to tell you, Brandon, the challenge, it's a little nostalgic for me. I
Yeah.
know I feel like it's been going on for a really long time. It has, but it keeps getting better.
This one is different. Usually you got enemies, you got these storylines, but now you've got your ride or dies. They have players that get to choose their own partners. You can bring your best friend, your sibling, your spouse, your ex, who would bring their ex, but I'm sure somebody did.
Yes.
So there
Reality
you go.
TV after all.
The ride or dies, and with their closest ally by their side, they can conquer the challenge on and off the field.
Would you be my partner for this?
Well, you're pregnant.
Well,
I don't know that you'd be as good.
Your guys, I'll tell you one thing. If, let's say, you weren't pregnant and you accepted, your relationship would be tested like never
And-
before.
Can I'd
Oh.
also like to point out I'm not going to be pregnant forever.
Okay. Well,
Eventually.
Okay.
Eventually.
Well,
So
next
we should
year,
make
Next season.
Next season, the
Yeah,
challenge
I'll do it
fans.
with you. Yeah.
Well, you know,
I'm out of shape.
it's okay. I'll carry that. You can carry the intellect. I'll carry the physical, because challenge fans would lose their minds. if
Yes.
We're on it, but also some of the big name vets riding into competition together. They got Tori and Devin, Jordan and Anissa's.
Anissa's still kicking around?
Johnny Bananas.
Yes, he is.
He is back.
Johnny Bananas has won this thing 7 times.
He was in the office the other day.
Johnny Bananas is like a
Is he the
lifer.
goat?
I mean, he has to be.
What about CT? Is he still in there?
I don't. He's
He's not on the ad copy. I probably shouldn't say his name.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do know all the other names. They're fantastic.
Don't
Johnny
miss-
Bananas, 7-time champion.
7. Don't miss the challenge.
The
Ride.
Nick Saban of the challenge.
Probably. Ride or Dies. New season premieres tomorrow. So when we're recording this is Tuesday. So it premieres Wednesday at 7/8 Central on
Well, try that again.
MTV. 8/7 Central.
There we go.
On MTV. Okay, let me try this one more time.
One more time.
Don't miss the challenge. Ride or Dies. New season premieres tomorrow, Wednesday at 8/7 Central on MTV.
Here's the because list, and these are players that have had Heisman-type starts to their season, but play in places that they will never be allowed to have Heisman hopes and dreams.
So sad.
That is so sad.
Purdue has a history recently. I have 7 players here. Purdue has a history recently of producing elite receivers that get nowhere near the Heisman. David Bell, Rondale Moore, and now Charlie Jones. Through 6 games, he's on pace for 100 catches, 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. He's got 50 catches, 603 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's a transfer from Iowa. Imagine how his life has improved.
And he's with his best friend,
With
Aiden O'Connell.
Imagine how his life has improved for the better just by moving a couple states to the east. Charlie Jones, Purdue. Anybody know who leads the country and qualified players in yards per carry? His name is Dwayne McBride. He plays at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. He has 641 yards, 9 touchdowns. He's averaging 7.37 yards every time he carries the football from the running back position. That's pretty fucking strong.
He's awesome.
Now, I have several more. I have 5 more, 3 quarterbacks and 2 running backs. Chase Brown should be on this list because Chase Brown is nowhere near the Heisman list as far as odds go right now. He hasn't moved into that top 10, but Chase Brown is leading the country in yards, and he has helped resurrect the Illinois program. It's not like they have a dynamic quarterback or receivers. They have a good defense and a good running back, and Chase Brown is
Him.
Thank you.
There we go.
Rocket. See, now this shows you that I can be a good guy. Rocket Sanders.
Yep.
Arkansas?
I don't believe Arkansas is very good. Their defense sucks. Their quarterback's overrated. Their coach is overrated. But fuck, that guy can run the shit out of a football. Rocket Sanders, 700 yards so far. He's been incredible. He's played some good defenses too. He's already played A&M. He's already played Alabama. He's already played Mississippi State, and he's still putting up numbies. Rocket Sanders, 3 quarterbacks for the because
And
list.
Also, he has the name for it.
Rocket Sanders is one of the best names in college football.
Yes, it is.
Better than Coco Telemundo. What was it?
Fulatolius. He's great.
Okay.
Fordham, stand up. You know who also went to Fordham? Vince Lombardi.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah, he's got the
By the
Super
way,
Bowl named after him.
if we had Doug's, if the Doug's Big Cat thing was still going and we could offer him names, I used to name players. Coco Telemundo would absolutely be a player that I would offer him.
Okay.
Coco Telemundo.
General Booty still.
Yeah, General Booty's good.
Fat Watts.
I named JoJo Smalls. People don't know that. I named JoJo Smalls.
He was great. Won a national championship.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Let's go with, where am I at? Because list?
Your
Yeah.
quarterbacks now.
3
Austin
quarterbacks.
Reed. There are 3 quarterbacks with over 2,000 yards passing through 6 games. Yeah, last year Bailey Zappi was probably might have been the because list winner. Played at Western Kentucky. Austin Reed has taken his place. He has 2,036 yards, 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in 6 weeks. That's Austin Reed, Western Kentucky, and you won't hear his name outside this podcast. Michael Penix Jr.
Ooh.
People have soured on him because they've lost a couple games. Well, guess what? They scored a lot of fucking points in both those games.
Yes, they
They
did.
scored 38 in the loss to Arizona State. They scored in the loss to UCLA. He threw a couple of picks, but still, it can't be ignored that Michael Penix Jr. came into this season as an afterthought and has delivered in spades with 2,044 yards, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Even though they've lost a couple of games and the bloom's off the rose a little bit for that team, he has been elite, but he will be nowhere near the Heisman ceremony when it happens. And number 1, the because list winner for the first half of the year.
Oh, boy. I just looked down and saw. It makes sense.
Will Rogers?
Will Rogers,
What?
Mississippi State, is still like 60-1 on the Barstool Sportsbook app. Still in the odds. He's still behind guys like Brock Bowers. He's still behind guys that have no business in front of him. He's still behind guys like KJ Jefferson. Will Rogers, 5-1, 16th in the country. Will Rogers, Mississippi
Put
State
some
University.
respect on his name.
Put some fucking respect on his name. Him Rogers.
No.
Will Roghims.
Yep.
Did you see it? People are calling Brent Venables burnt vegetables.
Well, I
Funny.
didn't see that, but
The
we
streets
will.
are saying that?
I didn't see that, but
Apparently
we will be
Oklahoma-
doing that as a show from now on.
Oklahoma message boards. Burnt vegetables.
Yeah,
Burnt
that would be a
vegetables.
great. Casey sent the text earlier. That
Yeah.
was very funny.
Oh.
His I'm laughing at you because I have to go back. You just sounded like the most Michael Scott you've ever sounded in your entire life. What did you
Will
say?
Roghims?
The way you said it was so Michael Scott. No, every single time I see Brent Venables at a press conference,
It's Brent Vegetables.
he is in extreme pain. His facial expression.
He's Dabo.
Like, no, Dabo at least like has like some like.
Because we haven't seen Dabo lose.
Well, but it's not just that. It's like his facial expression. It's like someone's twisting his nipples all the time. He's just constantly wincing.
That's interesting you went there.
Not in a good way.
Okay.
Not in a good twisting a nipple. You know, like whenever you're a kid.
Is there a good twist?
Purple nurple.
Some women like it.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, like the purple nurple. Like he looks like he just constantly has someone purple nurpling him.
There's never, from a guy's perspective, I would never want. But some
Chat,
women
let's
do
do it.
like
Let's
that.
do a bet on a game one day this year.
No.
No, let's do a bet on a game, and the loser just has to get a constant nipple twist the whole show.
Like, and not
Just
you know
sitting
not
there like this.
not a sensual one. You know, you got to go like full like.
No, stop
grip,
it.
just-
Stop.
Sorry,
Don't
sorry.
touch my body.
That is what.
Yes.
Your body, your choice. That is what Venables looks like at all times. And not only that, to go even further, his voice sounds like he's in pain. His
He
voice,
probably is in pain.
but he sounded like that before the season too. He just constantly looks like
I
he's
don't
under
know.
some
Before
sort
the
of
season, when
duress.
he was talking, he still had all those Dabo mannerisms where he'd lean forward. It's just little old Clemson was just doing all this shit.
Remember his
Now,
quote about like the fire extinguisher hose being in his mouth? That
Yeah.
was
Oh, I
sus.
forgot
the
about
fire,
that.
no, just the water hose, not the fire extinguisher hose, right? Just the water hose. We want guys to drink out of the water,
Yeah, something like
drink
that.
out of the
Yeah,
hose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just the man is
Oh,
clearly
and then
in
he's
some
like,
sort
I'm
of
like,
pain.
yeah.
I did. I,
You know what? Also, he looks like
I should have thought of this, but we'll do it later. What?
he looks like the villain dad in like a Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, I like that.
You know,
As
like the booster dad, the real asshole. Like
I'm
that's-
just spitballing this subject very quickly.
okay.
As we go into the second half of the season. What are some very interesting stories? I think how low Oklahoma sinks is very interesting.
Yeah.
Can Kansas keep it up is very interesting. And since I'm in the conference, who wins the Big 12 is remarkably interesting because there's still so much strength at the top, it seems like.
Also, who wins the Pac-12?
I think that's remarkably interesting as well. You
The
still
battle
have
for LA.
I think you still have 5 teams that can win the Pac-12. You have USC, UCLA, Oregon, probably 4. USC, UCLA, Oregon, and I think Utah is still. You can't throw them away. If they get some big wins coming up soon, they can get right back in it.
And then in the microcosm, like I just said, it's the battle of LA is all. I mean, granted, people in LA don't care, but we care.
The battle of LA. Who would have thought?
What contenders do you think are pretenders that will be revealed in the second half?
So out of the
Oklahoma
top,
State Saturday.
I think Oklahoma State is one. I think. Listen, their fans are going to not like this, but Ole Miss is 6-0 against the worst schedule in the country. They're probably an 8-4 team that's going to run up against the wall very, very soon. Tennessee fits the profile of a team that gets exposed.
I'm really worried. They have a really bad pass defense. If Bryce Young plays,
I know.
I don't understand how they're not going to get.
My
torched.
prediction is he doesn't play, but that pass defense is sus.
But the thing, if he doesn't play, they're going to beat him. They're going to beat Alabama if he doesn't play.
Yeah, because their offense.
Yeah, but I think Bryce obviously wants to win, but he also has an NFL career to think about.
Yeah, but Saban is.
They also have witch doctors there.
Saban wants to win at all costs. If he's 70%, his ass will play.
You see, if I'm Bryce Young's doctors or Bryce Young's agents, parents, I would wait until you're 110%.
By the way, she's absolutely right. If they got to go get a homeless guy's shin bone or shoulder bone in Birmingham and kill a drifter to give him a healthy shoulder, they'll do it. They do funny things in Alabama.
Look with Tua, like with both legs, they had like injuries that knock guys out for the entire season. And he was like,
Remember that
2
when
weeks.
Tua now, he can't even take a hit.
But remember when that was the thing when Alabama
Jack.
just figured out ways to get guys get Tua on the field?
No, they have their own ankle surgery.
Right,
Exactly.
Witch doctors.
Now they're going to have their own shoulder surgery for his shoulder, right?
Yeah, it's his AC joint.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they will figure
Mark
it out.
Andrews? Not Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is tight end. James Andrews.
James Andrews from Birmingham.
Telling you. Witchcraft.
Penn State fits the profile. I don't know that they're a fraud, but they I'll tell you what. It's either Penn State or Michigan in the Big Ten. Somebody's probably going to lose 2 games. I feel like they'll.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Well, I guess that doesn't really
because
denote
it's Ohio
fraud.
State,
Yeah.
Penn State, and Michigan.
Yeah.
And Penn State still has to play Minnesota, too, who's going to be a tough game.
What you said earlier, Jack, and I know that the cards would have to fall perfectly for this type of chaos, but the idea that Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan could all round robin lose to each other would be awesome, unless you're a fan of one of those teams.
And I do think finding out what happens with Texas in the back half of the season is very interesting as well.
How much hate did you get for that take?
People don't have vision.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
People lack vision.
That was a great response by you.
People lack vision. They lacked vision 2 years ago when I said Notre Dame was a playoff team. They called me names. When last year and the first playoff ranking came out and I said Cincinnati's going to make it, and they're like, no, they're too far back, I got called names. Now I'm getting called names because I say Texas, if they went out, which is a gigantic if and probably not going to happen, if they went out, they're going to force a conversation with the playoff committee if enough things happen
And you
around
posted
the
as a
country.
question.
Correct.
And
I said.
also,
yeah.
why is that so crazy to think? If they went out,
I had a bunch of people say, "Oh, they've already lost Texas Tech. They got 2 losses. No 2-loss teams ever won the playoff or been to the playoff." Yeah, no 2-loss team ever won the national titles. Well, LSU did it. Like these things that have never happened happen.
how many undefeated? I mean, they have at least 2 undefeated teams left on their schedule. They have TCU.
Well, they won't be
have
undefeated then,
Oklahoma
but
State.
they still have Baylor, who's very good. They still have Oklahoma State, who's very good. They still have Kansas, who has a good record. They still have
Right.
TCU.
That's not
so
crazy.
They still have a lot of meat on
Yeah.
that bone. All right, I think we should.
You know what's going to be awkward?
What?
If that discussion happens, but then Wake Forest is sitting there at 11-1.
I didn't mean to hit him in the face. I was trying to throw it in his computer.
I wish we had. You saw him throw it, but he literally
hit him in the face.
He hit right
No.
the bridge of the glasses.
I was trying to wake him
No,
up.
we
Like,
don't
hey,
condone.
He was on. He's
I was trying to wake. I was like, hey.
He was awake. He's
he was
working.
awake. He's doing other things.
I almost said something I shouldn't.
Sorry,
say.
I'm sorry, Noah.
What?
I didn't mean to hit you in the face.
It's all good.
I did mean to throw it at you. I can't deny that. Did not mean to hit you in the face. Where's another cap? I'll show you what I meant to do.
No.
I'll show you what I meant to
No.
do. Okay. Thank you, Noah. Give
Give
it
it
back.
back.
Oh
All right.
shit.
See, well, I meant to go like, hey.
Then you're gonna mess up the recording.
No, I wasn't. It didn't. Give it back one more time.
What if you knock water into the fucking soundboard?
Here's what I meant. Like, hey, buddy. That's perfect.
Now you messed up his.
That was perfect. That was perfect. That was
He's
perfect. Throw.
working.
All right, guys, you're acting like he's a puppy. He's.
You hit him in the face.
He's too nice for you.
I would go to HR, but we've had some issues.
Yeah, facts.
Well, I can
They'll
tell you.
They'll just give you a ranking of the people in the
I
room.
have to say,
You're too
just
low on the rankings.
Noah, what you need to do is just send a drunk email.
Oh.
By the way, he's gone.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
That's why the list.
I got it. Oh yeah, Jack's list, undefeated. Let's end the show,
Okay.
shall we?
Yeah, it's over.
Show's over. Goodbye.